Across the wall. Watch the front end of Brian Egan's car here. Look at the wheels, totally loose, completely snaps off. It's like the tie rod stamps on the front of the car. He keeps it going towards the wall, but when he transitions back, the wheels are just not turning in the right direction. And as he goes back, you see that front wheel goes completely on full lock, and the steering fails, and he goes off the track.
You have a good team behind you. You've decided to take deduct a point and take a 5-minute rule. Do you think you'll be able to get it fixed?
We don't really have any spares, so I don't know. I don't know enough about cars, so I said, I might as well try it.
Not a lot of work being done on the car, so it would seem to me that this doesn't look like a good sign.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of head scratching going on out there.
And you can see Jack Shanahan jacking up the front of Brian Egan's car with his dad John behind. Jack's still in the competition, now jacking up the car to try and see can he fix another competitor and get another Irishman back out on the grid. As you can see, Brian Egan, who generally, like me, has no idea what's going on at this point and just says, I'm just going to let the professionals. And John Shanahan now says, I might have to, with my bare hands, straighten the suspension on the car. And of course, this is always a fun part of global warfare, is the John Shanahan side piece. We haven't seen the hammer come out yet. He's calling for it. No, it's a spanner, not a hammer, and a bit of a welder coming out. So they're going to try and do something with this car to get it back on track. Eddie's in the pits. I wonder, can he get a word with what's going on? So you can see John Shanahan is attempting to weld the car back together with Danny Waldron, teammate on Team Delta there. And the hammer is in. It was thrown into the mix there. The hammer is back. John Shanahan's favourite too, and as you can see, they're trying to weld that car in a 5-minute rule. Incredible stuff. You talk about going to your local mechanic and saying, I need a clutch, and they tell you a week. These guys are welding and fixing cars in 5 minutes. Will they be able to repair it? Guys, give them a big round of applause. Let them hear you from the grandstand. The time is ticking away. Have we got Eddie? Have we got word with some of the drivers? Yeah, Eddie's there with Brian Egan.
Brian, we have, I suppose if you wanted to have anybody working on your car, it would be John Shanahan trying to weld the parts back together to get this car back out. Do you hold any hope here?
Yeah, John's on the case, so there's always a little bit of hope, yeah. There's a lot to do here now to get this done in time, but yeah, look, we'll try anyway. Be ready to go if you can get it done in time.
You'll obviously be at a disadvantage when you go into, if you get this car back on the grid and you'll be going into the chase position. You do love driving like nice and close and very aggressively in that chase position. Do you think if you get the car on the grid you can try and force an error from Gary Dunham?
Hey, look, it's starting to rain, and you know, battle's never over until it's over. It's a long track, and yeah, even if it's just to put on a bit of a show, I'd like to get back out. So.
Do you know at this point what's actually broken on the car?
The hub is broken.
So it's a broken hub. Okay. So Brian Egan desperately waiting to see if this car will be fixed, but as we say, John Shanahan is on the case, and if any man can get this done, it will be him. It will be a little bit of hit or miss whether or not this car will be working fully if it gets back on track, but Brian Egan's ready to give it a go.
Absolutely, thanks Eddie. Obviously keeping us up to date on what's happening, and we can't move on to the next stage of our competition until this battle is completed, James, because obviously this is the last run in our top 16, and John welding and hammering and as I said, look, I mean, this is a big, I mean, the hub is broken. That is not a small part to fix. That is a very, very difficult thing to do. And again, you're going to send, not only will you fix it here temporarily, but then you've got to throw that car in at, 80 plus miles an hour and hope it holds. And that's the big risk these guys take. So we're having a look at it. And of course, my voice starting to go already, James. It's going to be a long run to the finish here. But we're asking our marshals. Obviously, they will inspect the car. Also, Brian Stone, our head scrutineer down there, making sure that the safety is paramount and that they're repairing it correctly. Also, that it cannot be out there with issues on the car. But guys, give them another round of applause as they try and get the wheel back on this car. Surely not. Surely they will not beat the clock on this one. Even Brian Egan didn't believe it. He was standing back quite defeated. What is the time on the clock? So it looks like there is just a minute left on the clock. As I said, our timekeeper here in the tower, they're putting the wheel back on the car. Remember, that car has to move within the next minute to get it back on the line, and they're trying to get the steering working. They're saying to John Shannon, saying, feck off out of the pits there, and kicking the car and saying, go back and down to the pit. And guys, give them a round of applause. They've just fixed the hub in 4 minutes. As the rain starts to fall, you heard Brian Egan say it, the track is getting slippier, anything can happen. And he's just going to give it a little spin around. Looks like both wheels are turning in the right direction. And he is going to make it back out onto the line. Guys, a round of applause for the backroom team. A combination of Team Delta and Team Shanahan coming together. And the clock there, I can't see exactly what it says. Yeah, there it is, 3 minutes 59. So a minute left on the clock, and that was what was left on that one. And we just welded a hub. I've never even seen it done before.
But a new series, the Irish speed welding contest.
Speed welding, speed fixing. The hammer was thrown in from a passerby and said, John, you might need it. It's just crazy stuff, right? Every time we come here to Montello, we get a story like that from the pits. That's the camaraderie behind the scenes here in the Irish Drift Championship. No man left behind, and they go to the line with rain falling, a little bit of rain, not enough, but enough to make it slippy. Will Gary Dunn's, be able to hold his nerve? Will Brian Egan be able to chase him? 10-0 down is Brian Egan. Gary Dunn just needs to get around. Let's see what happens. Gary Dunn puts 2 wheels off. Brian Egan dives in and it stays. No! Big transition there as Brian Egan now tries to put it on the door and does. That weld on the hub holding up, barely even had time to cool as it's now in a big dive in towards the wall.
There's some big moves here. Big moves from chasing, big moves from leading.
And Brian Egan will give a valiant fight here to stay in the fight, to put on a show for the fans. Give it up for Brian Egan and Gary Dunn. No quit on that grid whatsoever.